Ndoba. Gabriel Ndoba Wimba. Enzo Kabenga. Enzo Kabenga. Mugisha Calvin. Mugisha Calvin. Hirwa. Hirwa. Mshizimpumu. 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 Moïse Mshizimpumu. Mshizimpumu.
Nous avons l'équipe du Gabon pour la Coupe du Rwanda. Présentation de l'équipe du Rwanda. Numéro 00, Gabriel Doba. Numéro 1, Mohamed Keita. Numéro 2, Atil Kouki. Numéro 8, Merci. Numéro 10, Jisha Kake. Numéro 11, Kelvin Gaza. Numéro 12, Moïse. Numéro 14, Ishoué David. Numéro 15, Igor Victor. Numéro 11, Bameti Bizimana. Numéro 23, King Ali. Numéro 35, Joshua Alvin. Coach, Aristide Kougambi. Assisté de M. Mazé. Bienvenue.
Aristide Mugabe.
Gabon.
And a very warm welcome here on FIBA's exclusive coverage of AfroBasket 2026 live from Côte d'Ivoire. You're looking into the lovely venue that has been home to these games. The second venue is the Salle Polyvalente here in Treichville in Abidjan. And tonight's matchup is a classification matchup between Gabon and Rwanda. We just heard La Concorde, the national anthem of Gabon, and Rwanda Nziza, beautiful Rwanda, the national anthem of Rwanda. The anthem's complete. Welcome to this venue for another night of FIBA U18 AfroBasketball action. This one brings together Gabon from Central Africa's Atlantic coast and Rwanda, the land of 1,000 hills in East Africa. Two teams whose tournament paths have been very different, but whose objective tonight is exactly the same. Gabon arrived with some momentum. After dropping their first two group games, they fought back from a 15-point deficit against Morocco and finished with a 17-12 closing run to earn a 67-62 victory. Head coach Bertrand Ondozogo called the win essential, result he hopes can help reignite the country's basketball program. Rwanda, on the other hand, are looking for a response. Less than 2 weeks before this tournament, they stunned Egypt in Cairo to win the Zone 5 qualifier. But here in Abidjan, they went 0-3 in Group C. There have been good individual stretches, especially from Plamedi Bismana and Victor Hugo and Gabon Nziza, but Rwanda are still looking for their first win of these finals. So the theme tonight is, if you will, momentum versus redemption. This is a classification game for places 9 through 12. The winner moves on to play for 9th place against Nigeria, who won earlier this evening, and the loser will play for 11th. So no medal on the line, but plenty still matters. Pride, final placement, development, and the chance to leave Abidjan with something positive to carry forward. Gabon and Rwanda, 40 minutes will decide who's going to take that next step. I'm John Monin, and it is my pleasure and a privilege to bring you the sights and sounds from Abidjan. It's been a wonderful tournament with a lot of good basketball. Some games have been rather lopsided, but we know this is the developmental stage, and as long as we see teams trying their utmost to become better, why, we enjoy it all the same. And from my experience throughout the tournament so far, that is exactly what I've seen. Whether they've been close contested matches, which are of course fantastic, or if they've been lopsided victories, I've seen teams that were down 50 points battling to the bitter end. And that's what it's all about at this level. Good positive coaching and developing these youngsters to become Africa's next brightest stars of basketball. So we've had the starting lineups, we've had the national anthems. We're just about ready to tip things off here in this multifunctional hall. Let's have a quick mention of the coaches for this evening. For Gabon, it is once again Bertrand Ondozogo, and for Rwanda, Aristide Mugabe, as they check the last things over before sending their starting five out onto the court. Leading Gabon is Junior Nongo Nagwal, 195, 6'4" player for 17 years old. Rwanda looking to regain that form from the Zone 5 qualifier when they took down the Pharaohs in their own Cairo. Not a whole lot of fans on tap for this evening, but certainly one fan from Rwanda who's going to carry the weight of many as we line up for the tip-off. Lining up for Rwanda is Joshua Muhirwa, one of their bigs, and he will square off against Junior Nanga Nagwal. Rwanda controls the tip, and we are underway. lost at the perimeter. Pass with plenty of mustard on it from Casaneza rather, but certainly well within the parameters of being handled there on the perimeter. Good driving move to the bucket and a soft touch, but unfortunately Bakali could not get the ball to fall. However, fouled in the act and will go to the free throw line and shoot a couple. Personal foul was against Bizimana. Plomedy with his first of the game. Somebody needed to take a few extra free throws during warming up. Bakali missing everything and going 0 for 2 on that attempt. They won't want to do a whole heck of a lot of that. This offensive series going somewhat better for Rwanda. Rebound and a clearance for Gabon. Over the timeline. Rebound to Mbeng Ebana. Slotted. Drive to the baseline. Good dish inside. Hot potato was a little too hot to handle in the first instance, but a lovely recovery and putback from Joshua Alvin Murhiwa. So Murhiwa will go to the line to try to add one. In the meantime, opening up Rwanda's account on the offensive score sheet. Big fellow, agile, soft touch, and a good stroke on the free throws. He's been averaging pretty well so far in the tournament. Drive underneath that really got Bakali in a spot of trouble. Found himself amidst those Rwanda talls and ran out of options. Turnover and a chance for Rwanda to extend the lead. Mid-ranger, tough shot to make, but not for Hugo Victor. Hugo Victor in Gabonuziza. Gabonziza. Slow it down, Johnny. We'll get there. Out on the perimeter. Bakali drives inside and gets it to fall. Lynx Bakali gets Gabon up on the score sheet. And a travel called against Plomedy Bizimana. So Bizimana, that athletic forward, was dancing a little bit without the music as per the official. Lovely run to the iron. Goes unaided. Shot from distance cleared out by Rwanda. Ball down into the low post. Lovely. Muhirwa found his way to the rim and will also find his way to the charity stripe. Substitution for Gabon. Nathan Oboge checking into the ball game. Athletic forward, good transition runner and an active rebounder. Ball left for Kabenga. I say Kabenga, I mean, of course, Biamba. Now that I've got it straight, just for those of you still in doubt, Rwanda, of course, in blue, moving from right to left. Gabon in the white uniforms. Naturally moving from left to right across your screen here in the first period. 3-point lead for the Rwandese. Yamba to Bakale. Bakale. Well, he had a notion of greatness and just couldn't round it off. Steal and a good quick transition basket for Rwanda. Bizimana with the final touch and extends the Rwanda lead to 5. Oboge leaves it behind. Now at the top of the key, Nanga Ngwal, and Ngwal coming up empty. Unforced error for Rwanda and a turnover. Jumper from just beyond the free throw line. Ray Biamba couldn't get it to go, but he's going to have an opportunity to make a couple of free throws. First one is good. Transition for Gabon. Plamadi Bizimana called for the offensive foul. That'll be his second personal. Gabon settling in nicely, as evidenced by that offensive possession. And a timeout will be called as Gabon cuts the deficit to 2. Let's see if we're able to pick up any audio. I don't know if our boom mic fella is here at this venue. I don't see him. So I will just go on through the timeout. You'd think that for Gabon to be successful, they'd not only need a lot of this, but also I think it would behoove them to create some easy points before Rwanda's defense is set. And they really need to avoid another slow first quarter. However, one thing that Gabon has shown is that they can overcome a bad start. They have a slightly higher scoring ceiling in Abidjan than their opponent, averaging 56.3 points a game versus 49.7. And they shoot a little bit better from the free throw line, 61.7 as opposed to 57.1. All small details, but in a game that I think we should be able to reasonably expect will be a close one. That could make a fairly substantial difference. These teams met 10 years ago at this U18 level. Rwanda coming out on top by 30, winning 94-64. Penge wearing number 2 now in the ball game for Rwanda. This is Kabenga back out to the top. 4-3. Yes, sir. And that's a good reason to bring Penge into the ball game. Hasn't been scoring a lot, but he does have the skills to be a lead guard. Traveling violation called on Nanga Ngwao. And another timeout. As Rwanda ekes out another 5-point lead. Gabon would like to put the brakes on that. And there's that shot from Penge. Assist from Ugo Victor Ngambonziza to make it 12-7, which is where we stand with just over 4 minutes remaining in the first period. Ugo Victor and an unforced error. Turnovers have been an issue for Rwanda. They're going to really need to clamp down on that if they want to be successful tonight. Can't open the door very much for this Gabon team. They'll take advantage. Drive at the baseline, kicked out to the perimeter. And these are the costly fouls you also want to avoid. So Nathan Abogi will head to the free throw line to shoot 3. Foul was on Ngambonziza. Two of 3 and 3 of 3. Good trip to the line for Abogi. Penge is relieved of possession. Steal for Gabon. Just didn't get quite enough spin off the glass on that one. Did Mbigwi's. Ball left on the rim, a slow motion rebound, and Gabon says, thank you very much, we'll help ourselves to that, if you don't mind. Good assist, good leave, and unfortunately just a little too strong to the basket for Nanga Ngwao. That'll be a foul. So with a foul on Bakale, Zeneza will head to the line to shoot a couple. Misses the front end. Ishimwe Kazaneza, the lefty. Good ball movement, and then it goes awry. The commentator Jinx put the kibosh on that offensive possession for Gabon, but they take it right back. Could have been a violation. We got a little run and gun with finally a bucket. Courtesy Hugo Victor Ngambonziza. Driving and running out of options is David Lendoy. So Lendoy also checking into the ball game. Reserve winger. Good defensive energy. Twice about a three, drives up, tries that mid-ranger. Toughest shot in basketball for my money. Good leave and good solution, and allows Legy to drill one from three. Rwanda comes right back with their own answer. Mid-ranger, off target, second chancer. Same result. And the ball goes out of bounds and will remain in the possession of Gabon. Very animated Bertrand Ondo-Zogo along the sideline discussing things with one of the officials. Rebound for Rwanda as Ibrahim Muhirwa loses control. Gabon transition, cannot get the 2+1, so they'll have to go for two from the free throw line. Was a good steal from Lendoy. As Junior Nanga Nagual will try a couple. First one is good. In the meantime, Penga back in for Rwanda as Hugo Victor Ngambonziza checks out of the ball game, and Junior Nanga Ngwal makes one of two on his trip. But Gabon, oh my goodness! Just like that, look out, Junior, probably upset that he missed that free throw, stuffs the inbounder right through the rim. It's got to make coach happy. Turnover. Kicked back out to the perimeter and right on target. Rangefinder adjusted and ready to roll is Winel Bibang. Turnaround jumper, no good, a little too strong. That from Muhirwa. As we get a look at our crew chief for this evening. My apologies, hadn't had a chance to introduce our arbitrage crew. Crew chief is Ahmad Chiwa of Tunisia. His umpires are Abdurrahman from Guinea and Mohamed Doumbia from Mali. As Muhirwa manages to regain the lead for Rwanda right before the end of the quarter. Well, it looked for a while like Rwanda was going to take the game by the reins, but I told you Gabon has shown they can come back from a poor start, and that they did indeed, to cut the lead to 1 point. And it's been not the tidiest of first quarters of basketball, but with a lot of exciting moments. We've been certainly entertained. And perhaps best play we've seen so far came courtesy of Junior Nanga Ngwao with that alley-oop dunk off the inbounder. So that will give, or this will give Bertrand Ondozogo, as well as his counterpart, Aristide Mugabe, a chance to reassess strategy, talk about what went right, talk about what went wrong, and how to lead things into the second quarter of play, with Rwanda leading 20-19. Look at the score sheet, reveals that the man who made that spectacular dunk to close out the first quarter, Junior Nanga Ngwao, is leading Gabon with 7 points. And on for Rwanda, Ngambonziza, codename Hugo Victor, is on 7 as well to pace Rwanda, together with Muhirwa. So both on 7 and a spattering points across 3 other players. Same story for Gabon, and that brings us to 2019 to start things up here in the second quarter. Rwanda in transition, wonderful trail, and a wonderful putback from Kazanaya. Shot from 3, just off target. Lovely fake, and that was a very adult move from Ugo. Victor Ugo to extend the Rwanda lead back out to 5. Down into the low post, kick back out to the perimeter, baseline drive, and they stuffed it into the bottom of the backboard. Did Junior, but luckily for him, Jean-Vianney Mbayam was right there, Jean Vianney on the spot, if you will, to put the ball back up and in for Gabon. Lamadi Bizimana. Was 1 of 2, and this has been a pleasant entry into the ball game. Mbayam has definitely made his presence known coming off the Gabon bench. fresh face for Rwanda is once again Winel Bibang, wearing number 5. Mid-ranger. Just didn't distance it correctly. Trois points for Rwanda. And a lovely stroke for Ray Biamba. And in doing so, drew another one of those costly fouls. Five points once again, the margin, as Kabenga was able to make one of 2. Another quick question from Bertrand Ondozogo on the official. Easily the most dapper coach I've seen in the tournament so far. Kabenga from 3, spaced it. Gabon. A little bit of a careless handle, and 3 against 2 will not pay off, at least in the first instance. Drive to the baseline, and oh, that was courageous. That took a lot of guts, and he paid a dear price, did Kabenga. Those talls inside for Gabon said, nah, I don't think so. Appreciate the effort. Let's run that one back. Jumper from 3, up and over the backboard, and that is out of bounds. Ibang. Mendoy. And a jumper from Biamba. Bibang once again. Cross-court pass ends up by Lendoy. And Biamba can't get the 3 to fall. Another chance for Gabon, and third time lucky, I guess. Junior Nanga Ngwao with a shot that gives them a chance to get within 1, which they do. 28-27. Good steal from Bibang to set up Jean Vianney. And then Bayam cut the deficit to 1. Rwanda. Consternation of Aristide Mugabe. Penetration, kick out. And Kabenga not able to connect for 3. Neither team shooting exceptionally well in the tournament on 3s, but Rwanda is 3 for 8, which is 37%, which is not a bad 3% percentage at all. And from the field, they're shooting from 2-point range. They're shooting 50%, 7 to 14. Gabon, on the other hand, 33% for 2, and 2 out of 9. They're shooting 22%, and yet 1 point behind. They just had a few more chances than Rwanda. Part of that down to the 7 steals Rwanda's only been able to muster 3 so far. Drive inside, lays it in off the glass. All alone by himself, and there is Bayam. Was unable to get the comebacker for Gabon. And now, foul at the other end, and an opportunity for Rwanda. Wing via the top of the key, a 3-pointer, and a rebound for Junior, and a good layup from Bibang. And the layup from Bibang puts Rwanda in the lead, Gabon in the lead rather. Chance to extend coming up. Gabon will hold the ball up, run the offense. Long 3, no good. Another 3, this time from Bibang. And he'll chase down his own rebound, drive inside, unlucky. As is Mbayam. Timeout called. With 4 1/4 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. So timeout called by Rwanda. Our Steve Mugabe wants to talk things over. In the meantime, the thinnest of margins for Les Panthères, the Panthers of Gabon. Don't know of a nickname for the Rwanda basketball team. There's that Slamma Jamma we had to close out the first quarter. Can't see that enough. Anybody in the chat can help me out with a nickname for the Rwanda basketball team. I know the football team is known as the Wasps. I just don't know if that's been applied to the basketball team. So if anybody's in the YouTube chat that knows the answer to that trivia question, I shall be eternally in your debt. Out of the timeout, Rwanda brings the ball up and over the timeline. It's Kanziza. Kanziza tosses one up and it goes through. 3-pointer to regain some momentum and the lead for Rwanda. This time deferring. Three and a half to go. Rwanda by 2. Substitution. Blamadi Bizimana checks out. Hugo Victor. Ngambonziza checks back into the ball game for Rwanda. Long jumper for Bibang. No good. Munziza driving into lane, throws up a prayer. Luckily, he's got an angel on his shoulder. Only this time, Murhiwa unable to help him out. Distance for Kabenga. Gabon have to distance themselves before going in the dressing rooms, but I doubt very much if Rwanda will oblige, willingly in any case. And now a turnover as Lendoy checks out of the ball game and Bakale checks back in. Lynx wearing number 3. Drive to the bucket. A no-look dish didn't pan out well as Hugo Victor was surprised to say the very least and wasn't able to get the handle. Biguis. And a foul called against Gabon as Biamba checks out of the ball game. Foul was on Biamba, and he checks out and is replaced by Legui. Lovely mid-range jumper. Tough shot to make for Kazineza. Turnover, chance for Rwanda to extend the lead, and they do. Good transition bucket, and a tiny bit of luck for Rwanda. And Hugo Victor and Ngamziza. Well, that wasn't very nice. Shimwe Kazaneza picking the pocket. Three-pointer for Mbiguis is no good. But he's going to get one of those expensive, all-inclusive paid trips to the free throw line, and he'll have 3 attempts. Very flattened out free throw shooter. Dario Mbiguis plays for the Sparkle Academy. It's his club team back in Gabon. Kabenga off to the wing. Well, he spun out of trouble, but then kind of got tangled up in his own 2 feet. And Victor Hugo will walk it off and head to the free throw line as he's been paid 2 free throws. Mugabe talking things over with the remainder of the squad. And Bonziza. It almost came back down off the top of the backboard through the rim. 3-point lead still for Rwanda. Moving down to about a half minute to play. Oh, I saw the aspiration in the eyes of Jean Vianney. So a blocking foul called. And Asim Penge will go to the line to shoot two, the 17-year-old. Goes 1 of 2, does Penge. And the lead for Rwanda 4 with 20 seconds remaining. Drive to the bucket, and oh, like a walk in the park, and that's exactly what he did. He got the Euro step, they gave him that, but there was a little extra freebie he wanted to help himself to. And Bakali is whistled for traveling. Well, that's impressive to consider that he had to go through 2 Gabon defenders to get to the rim. Did Ishimwe Kazaneza. And with time expiring, Gabon was looking for something spectacular to close out the first half on. And we'll keep an eye to make sure that our injured player is okay. But for the rest, Rwanda managed to eke out a half a dozen point lead to go into the dressing rooms, up 39-33. Well, no worse for the wear, we hope, as Lynx Bakali is back up on his feet and headed into the locker room. And we will also take our leave for about 15 minutes. Gives everybody a chance to grab some refreshments. This is going to be a good one in the second half. I promise you that. With the score 39-33, Rwanda leading Gabon. We will be back after the halftime break. You are watching the FIBA U18 AfroBasket 2026 from Côte d'Ivoire. See you in a minute. So welcome back to the second half coming up here in the Salle Polyvalent in Treichville. We're in Abidjan in lovely Côte d'Ivoire for the FIBA U18 AfroBasket 2026, and this is the classification game, places 9 through 12 between Gabon and Rwanda. And as you can see, Rwanda with a 6-point lead coming out of the dressing rooms. Don't forget, this may be the nightcap for today, but tomorrow plenty more basketball. And tomorrow, of course, are the quarterfinals for the men. Those will tip off beginning at 1 o'clock GMT, which is coincidentally the same time zone as Abidjan. That game will be Mali against Tunisia at 3:30 p.m. GMT. Senegal versus Madagascar at 6 o'clock. Local hosts Côte d'Ivoire will play against the Pharaohs of Egypt. And the nightcap tomorrow evening will be between Cameroon and Chad. So plenty of good action on hand, and we will also have the winners and losers of the 9 to 12 matches. Winner of this match will face Nigeria, who defeated Morocco by a score of 84 to 76 earlier today. And of course, the loser of this match will then face Morocco. Those games tipping off at 3:30 and 8:30 p.m. GMT Abidjan time, respectively. Just about set to get going again. If you look at the halftime statistics, outside of the fact that Gabon shooting 27% against Rwanda's 50, and the one that jumps off the page to me is the second chance points, which is what's really keeping Gabon in the game. 12-2 is the advantage for Le Panthère. And all advantages aside, the first salvo of the second half is launched and made by Bizimana. He had 6 going into the dressing rooms. Hugo Victor leads all scorers with 12 for Rwanda. And the leading scorer for Gabon is Nanga Ngwal, who put up 9 on the score sheet before the end of the quarter. Rwanda out to a good start. Gabon needs to try to formulate an answer here on this offensive possession. They're also going to need to clamp down on Rwanda and allow them not to run amok. Well, that's what they're doing right now. Turnaround is not handled well. Turnover and a chance. 4 points out of the turnover. They both did reasonably well on that. 12-10 in favor of Gabon. Plenty of time. Need to slow it down a little bit. Run the offense. From the top of the key, off the back of the rim, Biyamba. Early foul in the quarter. Foul was on Biyamba, by the way. No players in any dire foul trouble. Couple on 2, nothing to write home about. Good putback, you could write home about that. Lovely little follow by Junior Nanga Ngwal. And that's not surprising, as he had a fairly productive first half, notching 9 points as the second leading scorer for Gabon this evening. Well, sometimes you gotta persist, and persist Muhirwa did. Rewarded with 2 points and extends the Rwanda lead to 10. Their biggest lead of the game. Well, Biamba got timed out on the shot clock, and that's an unforced error. Well, I say that, and yet, of course, it's always down to good defensive play by the opponent. But need a little bit of court presence. Mid-ranger. Always, always, always a tough shot to make. Errant pass. Taken into possession by Rwanda, gladly. Bizimana with the steal. However, can't get any points out of it, and the lead stays at 10. Quickly back up over the timeline, Gabon, putting a little pace into the game at this moment. Set up from 3, in and out. Tough break for Aboge. Now Rwanda, turnaround jumper, yo. Second time's the charm as the turnaround jumper from Muhirwa falls, and I'm not sure what that was all about. It happened in a flitz. I thought he was throwing up a timeout. Was he throwing up a technical? If it is, there's no repercussions. I really don't know what that was about. My apologies. Just a wild slinging pass that somehow finds its way back over to Junior. He can't do anything with it, however. And the steal might present them with a new opportunity, and yes, it does. Yes, sir. The second chance for Junior Nanga Ngwao. And he makes every bit of it count. A fought for a rebound, but then kind of a clumsy putback from Blemedi Bizimana. Found himself a little bit too far under the backboard to do anything with it. However, he had call it the good fortune of being fouled, if you could call it that. It was Aboge who fouled him, and Bizimana at least converts 50% of his trip to the free throw line. That was lovely. Nice block, though. Muhirwa saw it coming and got that big old arm stuck up there. It looked a little bit awkward, but very effective. Hugo Victor. Rwanda trying to put some distance between themselves and Gabon. It's been the story of the second half so far. Gabon very content to run and gun at this point. Rwanda not always the most patient. Work it in low post, turnaround jumper, comes up short. Me-bound, but a foul before. Good hustle from Blemedi Bizimana. And Bizimana will have the opportunity shoot a couple. And this time I think it is a technical foul, or we have a timeout. Okay, it's a timeout. Yeah, kind of a slow motion timeout. No, there is a technical foul. The technical foul was called on Mbigwes. And then there was another T, as in timeout, on top of that. And hopefully that is the correct explanation. It's the story I'm sticking with. So Rwanda, with yet once again their biggest lead of the evening. Now it's 14. It was a 15-point deficit that Gabon overcame to topple Morocco. So no strangers to adversity are the Panthers. Big thanks to Richard Armstrong, who has informed me that the Wasps are indeed a correct nickname for the basketball club. And putting a sting on that technical foul, as they will now also retain possession, was Bizimana. So a very suitable moniker for Rwanda, the Wasps. From the top of the key, as the shot clock expires, Rwanda coming up empty, could not make the 4-point play. Kick out. And a travel. Ahmed Shiwa calls the travel on Biamba. Costly turnovers. Pengi got a little bit too lackadaisical with the ball. Gabon all too happy to take over. That'll be a kick. Penge will head to the bench. He'll be replaced by Gambonziza. Well, rules are rules, and dotting the I's, cross the T's. It's international FIBA play. You gotta follow the process and the formalities. Benga for three, yes sir. Biamba, back to Legui, to Aboge, and nothing doing, nothing on offer for Gabon. Winding down to about 2.5 minutes to go in the half. And I've said it too much for the comfort of Gabon fans, I think, but the biggest lead for Rwanda is 18 now. Slowly but surely, the meter is tilting, and that's the 20-point margin. Just over 2 minutes remaining in the third. Still plenty of basketball left to play, but Gabon is going to have to get a sense of urgency. They're going to have to make shots like this, and they do. What a time to be on target. Gabriel Ndoba, not Gabriel, sorry, Mbigwis, of course. Got my eyes drifting to the bottom of the roster instead of the top, and shortchanged Daryl Mbigwis, who hits a very important three-pointer, at least if they can take a little bit of momentum away from Rwanda. Now, in the meantime, there's a foul on Aboge, and Bizimana will head to the charity stripe to shoot a couple. And I talked earlier about no one being in any particular foul trouble. In the meantime, Nathan Aboge is in deep trouble because he's sitting on 4 of them. Shot from distance. They need more of those to fall. They're shooting 21% from the three-point territory. Contrast that with 27% for Rwanda. But the more troublesome number for Gabon is inside the arc, where they are shooting a very, very pedestrian 24%. Pardon, sorry, correct that. Yeah, 25%, 24% overall. And speaking of overall, and speaking of sure things, Bizimana with a big old slam dunk to run the lead to 19 with just over a minute to go here in the third quarter. Yeah, missing everything that time. It's the kind of action you need. Tremendous rounding off. Sometimes it just takes a spark to get things going, says Junior Nanga Ngwao. Hiro would have loved to have seen that fall. As it turns out, he'll head to the line to shoot 2 free throws. I've seen a couple of fantastic dunks this evening, and that last one by Nanga Ngwao is certainly one of them. The last foul went against Nanga Ngwao, by the way. He now has 2 personal fouls on the evening. Kind of errors that Gabon can ill afford. Foul against Charles Mbengabane. Charles been played very sparingly this evening. Fair rebounder in his own right. Mbengabane, 17-year-old. At the line, Enzo Kabenga. plays for Espoir BC. Bizimana. What an evening he's had. 11 points so far. And Gabon finish out the quarter on a down note, if you will. Rwanda starting to pull away with it, and Gabon will discuss it in the huddle. Their coach will doubtless have a remedy. The question is, can Gabon affect that remedy? Bertrand Ondozogo, the 44-year-old coach from Gabon, will realize that his team are not a great shooting team. And they're going to have to find a way to cut down on their unforced errors. And I think they're really going to have to be a little bit more lucky than good down the stretch if they're going to trip up Rwanda. For right now, Rwanda would not say it's in cruise control. There have been far too many errors also by Rwanda to consider this a flawless performance. And of course, we're in the 9 to 12 classification. Quarterfinals are tomorrow. These are the teams that had the best credentials to get out of the group stage and compete for the last places on offer. Once again, the winner will face Nigeria tomorrow. The loser will square off against Morocco. For now, it looks like the most likely candidate for a date with Nigeria will be Rwanda, which would mean Gabon would face Morocco. But there's another quarter of basketball to play. Stranger things have happened in this wonderful game. And Gabon getting together before they come out on the court, and I'm sure that they're discussing exactly that same thought. Bertrand Ondozogo looking to rejuvenate the Gabonese basketball program. Good strong fourth quarter finish would go a long way to accomplishing that goal. That's a good start to get things rolling here in the fourth quarter. Bayum with a lovely move to the basket and backdoors it. But unfortunately for him, Rwanda has an answer ready and waiting. Mamadi Bizimana buries a three-point shot to regain a 20-point lead. And off the glass, no good. Courageous drive, going up against three bigs, never a good idea. Well seen, and a lovely laser found its way through several defenders to Joshua Murhiwa. And Murhiwa just couldn't get the handle on it. He was a little bit too deep anyway. Would have done nothing more than keep the ball in bounds. Penge back in the ball game. Little conference. Perhaps some question as to who last touched the ball. And I believe we're going to have a look at it. Well, in this particular case, I was not making light of the fact that Ahmed Chiwa, and I believe it was Penge who had to, the substitution wasn't correct. So the player coming on has to first sit on that box, and there's a formality to it. There's nothing wrong with that. The rules are rules, and this is tournament play. And once you start getting sloppy with the rules, that's a very slippery slope. And now there's a question as to whether who last touched the ball out of bounds. And may take a minute or so. They're going to go over and use the technical facilities that are available to them. And luckily for them, there's an absolutely fantastic team, not only at this venue, but at both venues, that are producing some wonderful pictures for us to watch at home. And let's make use of them. So my mistake in trying to analyze the arbitrage, I believe the question was whether it was a foul or not, and that in fact turns out to be the case. Muhirwa will shoot a couple. It's a technical foul. It was an unsportsmanlike foul on Lindoy. And Muhirwa unable to sink either of the free throws. However, Rwanda will, of course, have possession. 1 minute played. Still a fair bit of sloppiness, if you will, on both sides. Case in point, Muhirwa unable to get the handle. But much like the previous three quarters, Rwanda with an opportunity. Kazineza liked his odds better driving to the basket, and we'll have to give him his due on that decision. Block shot by Muhirwa. And the favor is returned at the opposite end by David Lindoy. Well, they like that idea of driving in from the perimeter so much they tried it again, this time less successfully. Bibang kicks it out to the outside. 2-point shot, no good. Drive to the basket, also good for Lindoy. Legui also unable to connect, but they will retain possession. Back to Lindoy, to Bibang, and Bibang lives up to his name as he Bibangs one for 3 points. It's a lovely hanging floater there. Just couldn't quite get it to fall, but from the perimeter, yeah, once again, guess who? Mehdi Bizimana, and he is busy for sure. Junior, back to Bibang. In the meantime, very precious little has been done by Gabon to chip into that, what's become a structural lead from Rwanda. And with 7 minutes remaining, it would have to happen very quickly. That is the kind of start you would need. That's a positive jinx from the commentator. And Biguis with a three-pointer and the opportunity for one more, which he does not convert. However, sometimes you need a little help from your friends. In this case, a fellow by the name of Jean-Vianney Mbayam manages to follow one up, and that's the start to a rally if I've ever seen one. Being overly optimistic, of course, but why not? Junior. Bibang drives and finished up yet once again by Mbayam. And all of a sudden, Rwanda with some concern, and rightfully so. Lead's been cut back to 15. It's manageable with 6.5 left to go. And Aristide Mugabe would like to talk things over. They were seemingly about on cruise control when Gabon sabotaged the switches and turned off the autopilot. So we'll see if Gabon can continue this mini rally. Still early days to call it something in the lines of a comeback, but it's definitely a positive start. And if they can take that momentum out of the timeout, all things are possible. Once again, this would, of course, be a redemption for Rwanda, who came in having really turned heads in Cairo. Just an absolute famous win for Rwanda, taking down the Pharaohs in Cairo and then coming here and falling flat. And this would certainly be a spot of redemption for the Wasps, whereas Gabon did manage to get themselves a win in the group stage. And no matter what the final score on the scoreboard, can certainly hold their heads high. It was close to being an extra step. Turnover, and turnover right back again. And I'll tell you what, they're not only on a little bit of a rally, they got a little bit of lady luck on their side. Things start to fall in your favor. That was an absolute case of rabbit's footitis. Dream crusher that he is. Murhiwa with yet another block. And indeed, that was the 5th block of the evening for Murhiwa. He's pacing Rwanda in that regard, and also outpacing everybody on the floor with block shots. Mid-ranger. Miss. Tough miss. Still the toughest shot in basketball. 5.5 left to go. Lead is 15. It's a big ask, but it's not an impossible ask. And a timeout. Yep, check that. It's not. I thought I saw everyone headed to their benches. I think they were just headed back into defense. Travel call. Bizimana doing some walking. There's a steal. It's tough to live down. Ngamoziza. Theft of ball. Bizimana tried to make the highlight reel yet once again. As a foul is called against Kazaneza. The fellow who's on 3 fouls for Rwanda is Hugo Victor. So the lead trimmed back to 14. No, it's back to 16 as we speak, with a lovely hanging jumper at the free throw line. 2-3 zone now for Rwanda. Three-pointer off target. Rebound handled by Muhirwa. He has been vital in this Rwanda game. Both teams still fighting and scrapping for everything they're worth, and that's really, at the end of the day, the most important thing. Rwanda not letting up to the best of their abilities. Gabon scrapping for what they're worth. It's not pretty sometimes. These are definitely flawed basketball teams. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. That's just the way it is. Some of these teams have come here with players that are a little bit farther along the development path. And the reason why these tournaments are so important is this gives these two teams a chance to hone their skills and move further along the development path. But there are definitely some rising stars out on the court here. And there are a lot of rising stars throughout this tournament. We're going to see a lot more of them on offer tomorrow. Once again, the quarterfinals, all here live and exclusive on FIBA's YouTube channel. There's Muhirwa, who has just contributed on every aspect of the game, is now at the free throw line. He's got 11 points. Has not done stunningly well from the free throw line, making 3 of 9 for 33%. So something to work on for Joshua. That is a big 16-year-old kid. 2 meters 5. It's 6'8" to you folks still stuck on the E system. Putbacker, yes, sir. But at this juncture, you'd have to think that the biggest opponent to Gabon is the game clock. 3.5 minutes. And for what it's worth, Bigwis not giving up, as are the rest of his team, as are not the rest of his teammates. And he drains a three and keeps a sprinkle of hope still in the ball game for Gabon. And both teams will go have a chit chat about it at the 3:24 mark. This timeout called by Rwanda. Aristide Mugabe would like to talk things over. Mugabe, a little bit younger than his counterpart, 38 years old, and was a very serviceable national team guard in his own right. And that is, of course, very valuable. Coach with substantial firsthand experience of African international basketball. Played at AfroBasket in 2011, 2013, and 2017. And of course, come what may, will certainly be remembered in this year for the coach who took down Egypt in Cairo to win the Zone 5 qualifier. Nobody can take that away from you. And for all intents and purposes, looks very much like Rwanda will be playing for 9th, 10th place tomorrow against Nigeria. Nigeria, of course, would have been expected to be in the quarterfinals tomorrow. Issue with player availability. Unfortunate. But the guys who were here got better, and that's also important. At 3 minutes. Point lead is what Gabon is trying to eliminate. Now, difficult to believe you're going to really make a serious run at it if you time out on the shot clock. So Gabon will definitely need to pick up the pace, because made shots are great, as was that three-pointer. They're just going to need a lot more of them, and in order to get three-pointers to fall, they're going to take a heck of a lot of them, especially at the clip they've been converting. Gabon at 25%, which is not bad, but simple mathematics would say they're going to have to put up a heck of a lot of three-pointers to make this thing close, and they're simply going to run out of time, no matter how hot a hand they have from outside the arc. Yep, that's what you need to do. Biguis with a very necessary three-pointer. The hot potato session has begun in earnest. Turnaround jumper, no. Opportunity, 2 minutes to go. They need to put it up quickly. Go for two, it'll be given to them. Every bit helps at this juncture. Bibong lays one up and in. Oh, that doesn't happen all too often. And unfortunately, Lady Luck is not shining on Gabon. That's a jump ball. And the possession arrow favors Rwanda. So they will get the ball back. And that is an important get for Rwanda. They're going to need to be careful. Gabon have worked their way back into contention. Transition, Euro step, no sir. However, they will be paid a personal foul. Kind of business you have to do from the free throw line. Going for the trap and picking up a foul very quickly. Bizimana called for the personal foul. Big, important shot from Bizimana. Yeah, who else? All over the timeline. Under a minute to go. Rwanda looking to put it away. And an uncontested layup turns into a layup and a foul. And we'll see Enzo Kabenga go to the free throw line. Kabenga, that two-way perimeter star for Rwanda, and a timeout. He's been up and at it all game. Not a lot of fans on hand for Rwanda, but that fella, he's been working. That is the definition of a super fan. To their credit, and I'm not writing this one off yet, but Gabon has done a fantastic job to get themselves back within striking distance. The lead had been as many as 22. That last scoring run for Gabon, which is a little bit deceiving because there was once again a lot of breaks and sloppiness, but the net is what counts, and of course putting one through the net like that is also what counts. Legui. And Rwanda hoping that a 7-point lead will suffice. They'll get a chance to extend that here, and there's just under 20 seconds remaining in the ball game. Gabon only held the lead twice in the contest. That was back in the second quarter for 2 moments in time. That's really a big-time play from Mahirwa. We know he can block shots, but to block a shot without fouling at that juncture, that's a big-time play. Gabon responds with a basket. There's a 5-point deficit. .2 seconds remaining. So certainly not out of the realm of possibilities, and these free throws are going to weigh very heavily. Gazineza gets the first one to go. And a timeout will be called by Gabon. Ondozogo would like to talk things over with his Panthers. Gazineza did good work from the free throw line. The lead is half a dozen. Just a tweak over 5 seconds remaining. Un, deux, trois versus 1, 2, 3. Five seconds to erase a 6-point lead. Stranger things have happened in this wonderful game of basketball. Gabon will start things out in possession. Biguis to inbound. Expect him to get the ball right back and attempt a three. No, he'll go, yes, finally, but it wasted the time that they would have needed to make any kind of challenge. Time will expire. He needed to pop that ball right back. I thought that was the idea. Biguis, very capable three-point shooters we've seen already tonight. There may be the case to be made for a fraction of a second yet to be put on. Coach is going to compete right to the bitter end, and as well he should, and good on him. Bertrand Ondozogo, you fight for your guys. And they're going to go have a look at it. It will not be much, if anything. But it's now a one-shot game. Just took too long for Daryl Biguis to get the ball back into his hands. Didn't take him that long. It was a team error. They took too long. That should have been popped right back into him. He should have repositioned off the inbound and thrown up the shot. And they might have had 3 seconds. You can get a foul on the inbound, and who knows what happens. As it turns out, I don't see them putting, if they put a full second back on the clock, I think that would be about the maximum. But it's not my decision to make, obviously. This crew, Ahmed Chiwa of Tunisia, Ba Abdurrahman from Guinea, and Mohamed Doumbia from Mali. Have a close look. Chiwa works both the 5 side games and as well as 3x3. A lot of experience. He's done some AfroBasket work in the past. He was the crew chief on last year's U16 AfroBasket final. It was a long, a 3-minute conference, if not longer, to discuss fractions of a second. You're going to get 2 seconds back? Or we're going to have so there's a foul. I get that. There, yeah, okay, there it is. A 1/10 of a second. And this is, of course, what the original argument was all about, with Bertrand Ondozogo arguing there's a foul, the clock had to stop, and of course now it becomes academic, a 4-point lead with 1/100th of a second. Not even a miracle of Abidjan is going to overcome a now 5-point deficit. And in fact, to make matters worse, what I didn't realize and should have picked up out the signal, it was unsportsmanlike. It was an intentional foul. So Rwanda gets the ball back. I see now a minute on the clock. That can't be right, and it's not. And of course, that was the last gasp for this ball game. But never hurts to try. You never know what's going to happen in the strange and wonderful and beautiful game of basketball. But for now, Rwanda has indeed somewhat redeemed themselves. They came here to do better. They did not win a game in the group phase, but they do manage here in the classification round to notch out a hard-fought-for win against a very, very feisty Gabon team. And at one point, we thought we would have to encourage them to keep their heads on high. Well, they most certainly can. And quite frankly, they really came awful close to tripping up Rwanda. So for now, we will wait for tomorrow. And those should be some interesting matchups as well. Rwanda will face off against Nigeria. That game is the final. So let's start with Gabon, who will face off against Morocco. And that game is slated to begin at 3:30 UTC, Abidjan time. That's 5:30 for those of you on the Central European time zone, and 11:30 in the USA. The winners bracket for ninth, that's for 11th and 12th place. For 9th and 10th place, that game between Rwanda and Nigeria will tip off at 8:30 UTC. That is 10:30 on the European continent, and 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon in the USA. That second game will be en français. I will handle the first game, the 11th, 12th place game, so I will have the privilege of watching Gabon play again, and also a first-time look at Morocco. So looking forward to that very much. Feel free to join us for all. And, of course, tomorrow also filled with quarterfinals, tipping off already at 1 o'clock UTC and lasting also until the evening hours. So much basketball to enjoy tomorrow. You won't know what to do with yourself. For now, from the Salle Polyvalente here in Treichville, it has been a pleasure and a privilege to bring you this game. Final score, Rwanda 88, Gabon 83. From Côte d'Ivoire, we bid you good night and au revoir and à demain.